how did you do that, Sarah? I tell
It's a
you,
little Cherokee
it.
princess magic right there. Up there.
Yeah. Did you? Would you talk to the above or ancestors or just
The
magic
above, the
or
below,
what?
the
How
left,
did?
and the right. We did
Okay.
one of these. Send it up to creator
Oh
and said,
gosh,
okay.
I was. I don't know about you. I was getting a little frustrated. I don't know. I felt Elizabeth getting frustrated because I don't
No,
know.
it did
Anyway,
feel
look,
like
we're
the
here.
delay was frustrating, 100%. But
Okay.
yeah, the
Because
frustration was mutual.
well, let's how you want, guys, ladies.
Oh, so blessed, so thankful to be here with y'all tonight. Y'all don't realize the amount of podcasts that we have tried. Sarah and I have been trying to get on podcasts for a few months now, and our technical limitations are amazing. Yes. And
Yes.
so Les
Yeah.
inspired us this weekend. He said, let's do a podcast. And we're like, okay, we're going to do this. So
Yes.
We I just uh, think that we're doing fine. Let's keep this going. Let's get it done, ladies, and we'll just take
Okay.
it as it comes. So let's get this. Let's get it
Okay.
started.
All right.
all right, Les,
So,
you're for
all
it. Go
right.
Okay.
ahead.
Go ahead, Elizabeth. Do you wanna start or?
It don't matter who starts. I mean, Elizabeth, you have the honor
Oh,
tonight. Go ahead.
okay. Well, hi everyone. We are so thankful to be here, and I wanted to thank Les and the whole group of Socrates for putting together such a thoughtful platform. I know that we are coming to you live from the United States, but there's members all over the world, and so we just want to really thank you for your participation with this. When Les asked if we wanted to come online, I said yes, but Miss Sarah's got to come. And Miss Sarah is one of my besties she's calling in from Oklahoma. I went and visited Sarah in Cherokee country in last October. We went and toured several different territories down there and start talking about mental health and kids and what we could do to work together to start bringing storytelling and feature storytelling in a way that is an honor for the kids and helps restructure storytelling so that it provides a way for everyone to heal their trauma around this. And so, Sarah, I was hoping you could just kind of give a little bit about your background and start us off with that. So, Miss Sarah.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for giving the background on how we were able to connect. I just want to say thank you to Les too and the Socrates Cafe community for just taking us in. And Tamara, thank her too for all of her support starting off and giving us this chance to kind of share what it is that we're trying to bring awareness to. So that introduction is right along the lines of what we do. I am through honors of Mr. Luke Yellow Robe Cherokee Sarah. Probably not the only Cherokee that's named Sarah in the world, but Luke went ahead and did that. I do go by SJ if you want to look me up on other social media platforms. Uh, but so what we're doing is we're taking the narrative of our own stories back. And when I say we, I mean all of us individually and collectively that have this journey that it's our own individualized journey. We're proud to share it, and we want to give other people that same empowerment to give them opportunities to share their story. Uh, Elizabeth and I were able to connect on our love for the children, right? And so that's what we've kind of based this summer program and this storytelling venture that we're here to talk about today on the sovereignty of a native nation and ultimately the U.S. And so my story goes into that and being a native woman, a U.S. citizen, and the promises that we were given from our forefathers, Excuse me. Go ahead.
Les,
yeah.
could you mute you, honey? Because you're coming up with some feedback.
Oh yeah,
Les,
I did hear that.
yeah,
Me?
you got some feedback going on with you, so it's hard to hear. Maybe
Oh.
you could mute for a second. So
About now.
That's
Okay.
a little.
Is it better?
Oh, we can hear your background. Do you have
yeah,
a
we
mute
can hear your
button?
background, so maybe just mute it.
Oh, let me mute it.
There we go.
Okay,
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so my story starts in healthcare. My my background is in nursing, but my devotion is to the vulnerable and the underserved, which right now it is starting to be our children. And in our school systems, in the literacy and the healthcare, the food, we could go on and on. So being able to be a good ancestor and taking our part and the responsibility that we hold, um, along with my genetic background that puts me a sovereign entity into the land as well, has kind of driven this desire to create this space for kids to understand that storytelling isn't just a part of our heritage. It's a way to strengthen all of our abilities to share knowledge in the bigger enlightenment, so to speak. Elizabeth, is that kind
Yeah.
of how? Okay, good.
Well,
That's
I
what.
think that part of it, and I'm sorry guys, we're a little bit flustered from coming on and trying to get on for so many times, but you know, I've known Sarah for a few years now, and we've been talking about what's happening with healthcare and what's happening with mental health care and what's happening with our kids, especially after COVID. And so the way that the mental health care system is working right now has a lot of opportunities, especially for kids that are in isolation or who have been impacted by COVID. And both Sarah and I are mama bears. Sarah's single mama, 6 babies. Look at this woman.
Okay,
6
well,
babies.
they're not all babies, Liz. So
Okay, I
let's
know.
just be clear. I am not any kind of saint, I assure you.
She's a saint. She's kind of a saint.
But yes, and it was a COVID thing. It was a COVID thing,
Yeah.
and it hit hard with my own family, because the strength that we thought that we had, I was married for almost 20 years, so that mental health, those cracks and crevices, they just turned into these gaping holes that just we couldn't get back to. And that's where I'm at now. And since 2019, I have been focused on a holistic healing environment that is grounded in the basic things that people want, which is, and they need as well, which is safe places to share their story. And
That's great.
safe, people just want to be heard. They just want to be heard at the end of the day. And then at that point, saying it out loud, sometimes it's not as scary, and you're like, oh, that wasn't as bad as when it's going on in here. And so this is the struggle that people have more than anything out here. It starts here. And so being able to help people here completely strengthens here, because we have the mind, body, and soul. And that's part of the holistic health that we're getting at with the mental health conversation. So telling the story, um, it's a devastating story. It's just like so dramatic, and it has all these twists and turns. The story of Sarah. But what we want to focus on is the things that we bring for the betterment of it all, right? What comes at the end of that? What is the phoenix or the lotus at the end of all of that end of that trail? And it comes with a good support system, good mental health, and resiliency. So just creating those environments and for people to be able to feel safe to tell their story. And that's really what we're looking for, I think, at the end.
So what we've noticed in both of our stories, and we've talked to each other a lot about our stories, and we definitely want Sarah you to get into your story a little bit, because you have such an amazing superhero story that I just love you, and I'm so thankful to be here with you and Les tonight. But what we've noticed, and for those of you who don't know me, I've got two of my own kids. They're 22 and 19, and I also bonus mama bear for a lot of other kids. And so some of the kids may have some challenges at home, or some may have some trauma, foster kids, things like that. And a while ago, what we noticed is that when the kids can start telling their stories and get a reason why, right? And this applies for everyone. When you can get high enough in your life story to kind of weave together the pieces and say, why would I have gone through that, right? And what pearls of wisdom can I pull out of that? What can I do now so that I can look at this and say, with such pain comes such reward, and here's how we can incorporate, all of the pieces so that you come out of that boot camp, is what we like to call it, with a booyah, right? Like you did amazing things in order to have this happen. And we're going to talk at the end of a little bit of Sarah's story about the summer program that we would love your help on, to bring kids together. We're calling it What's Up Summer, right?
Yeah,
but it's the We Are, like the I Am movement, the We Are, right? Storytelling, and it's sovereignty and storytelling, unity and peace. Because ultimately, we know we lead by example. And when there's peace within, then there's peace without, right? As so within, as so without. And so I think that, Sarah, if you talked a little bit about, what it was like growing up Cherokee, right, in Oklahoma, and how you've gotten to such calm and such peace and such focus to become, a superhero mama, and a nurse who has gone through all sorts of different parts of the healthcare field to reach the why, why you went through this. Yeah, maybe talk a little bit about that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can. Okay. So, she is right. I do have 6 children. I gave birth to all of them.
Get it, mama.
I did. And so, but we did, my family started when I was young. So growing up in Oklahoma, I'm a rural girl through and through, Southern Baptist Christian. My grandmother sang gospel hymns in Cherokee at every gospel singing that I could go to. My uncle was a gospel preacher. So my religious background played a big part in my upbringing. We were Christian. And being in Oklahoma, if you're not familiar with Oklahoma, no, no worries. A lot of people aren't. It's interesting, and we in Oklahoma, especially where I'm from in Cherokee Nation, we were always integrated into the communities. A lot of my neighbors and family that are from different nations have been isolated and put into like reservations or nations that are integrated into Western or American society. In Oklahoma, we have always been, and those lines and boundaries have never been drawn. So that is a blessing in disguise, because I say that we don't practice traditional medicine. So as a young woman, my brother, I was a young mom, and my brother encouraged me to go into healthcare as a nurse because of the security in a job. We did not think about at the time the nobility of the role, and the how humbling of an experience. You are such a selfless person if you're doing it right. So if you are a good quality nurse, you are going to be putting people first. And so I really did strive to be a good nurse. I had a sister who was in a car accident. I was driving the car when we were 15 and 16 years old, and she ended up suffering a traumatic brain injury. So in a piece of me in this healthcare system, I was, kind of doing it for her, and my grandma, who I knew there were nurses and nurse aides and people over there taking care of her. And so if, as a reciprocal thing, I was going to go be a good nurse because I knew that there were going to be others taking care of my people. So I was going to do a good job at that. And that led me to many different wonderful places. I ended up in insurance. I ended up in Native American reservations. I worked in the private sector for a really great organization, an international organization, and they're the ones that led me back to my traditional roots. And Beata Healthcare, you can look them up if you want. Mark Beata, a wonderful, a generous man, and he fostered and he modeled this community-based project, and that's how all of his units worked. And I thought that's really great for all communities. We need a model that is small, so then whenever it's just kind of like a cell, you know, when it gets too big, it breaks off and it starts a new
Like a beehive.
entity. And
Like a
yeah,
beehive.
just like a beehive.
Yeah.
And so it was really great to come into that alignment with him. And again, the blessings in disguise of COVID, and just was allowing me to come back to my roots here in Oklahoma and really dive into this strengthening in the new healthcare system. So fast forward to 2021, I was able to meet Elizabeth and some of our endeavors that were leading to this economic changes is really what it was. And it was in a supply chain that we were both kind of like new to, but in the end it's just another link to the bigger picture. And so healthcare in itself has led me to believe that we can change the world if we can find a way to help healthcare in America. And in order to do that, we need to educate properly. And instead of just informing people, we really should empower them. And that's the difference of the way that we flow with the new way and the new acts and the new models of doing things that we are excited about. In integrating change, real change. So my story, I mean, I don't really want to get a whole lot into my story as far as like personal, but because I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. A lot of it is about resilience and the different, like, rural Oklahoma, it's very impoverished. Lots of things to overcome, but I think just perseverance and knowing that at the end of the day, whenever the golden rule, right, you do people the way that you want to be treated, then it all works out in the end. And so that's what brought us here to the Socrates Cafe, is to show other people like us that yes, we are taking the actions to make sure that these things are going to be implemented in a conscientious, quality manner, and we have a plan to do it. So if you kind of want to know more about that plan and how we're going about it, let us know. Let Les know, because we we believe that the children are the future. And
we just want to be good ancestors. When Sarah said that to me one day, she's like, I just want to be a good ancestor. I'm like, oh, baby girl, that is exactly how I feel.
I did say that we're going in, and that could be a phrase that's literally what we just want to be a good ancestor. At the end of the day, a good ancestor, and I want to be a descendant that my ancestors can be proud of.
Yeah. I want to take us back to 2021, because that's when we first met. We were talking about a natural medicine supply chain, and a little bit of background of me. When I started my career 20-ish years ago, I was first a healthcare attorney and working on putting together co-ops of doctors, because in the healthcare industry generally, there's facilities, there's insurance companies, and then there's providers, and they're usually fighting with each other. And so I came from a big white market medicine family. Dad's a doctor. He was chief of staff of the local hospital. Mom's a nurse. She's third generation nurse. I've got a brother who's a surgeon. A sister-in-law is a hospitalist. Another sister is a psychologist. So I grew up like not in love with Medicare or any of these programs, because the insurance part was so horrific for doctors. And if there's any doctors or providers watching or facilities watching, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? And so 20 years later, after going into food supply chains and natural medicine supply chains, we started saying, I mean, there's got to be something we can do to heal what's going on with healthcare. Um, and um, when all of this amazing research has been done recently from Dr. Gabor Mate and a lot of amazing other humans that say, you know, the root of the physical, you know, symptoms and the root of mental symptoms is a lot of trauma, right? Then it's like, well, how do you heal trauma? And more specifically, how do you heal trauma and within what's called family systems? Which is tricky, right? Because a lot of times, and I became a foster mom in 2016, and I couldn't believe what was going on with the foster care system. And there's so many systems like this, but how do you start to kind of pull all of the gems from our individual stories to weave together a solution that is for the highest and best for all and the highest and best for kids? And that medicine wheel we were talking about before, and maybe we can post a picture of the medicine wheel for those of you who aren't familiar with it. It stands, it's in a lot of indigenous cultures throughout the world, not just in indigenous communities in America, but it stands for healing through balance, right? Mind, body, heart, and soul. And so we started thinking, well, I wonder if we could bring together the MD doctors, right, that are prescribing whatever you might be using for mental health right now, and the psychologists, right, that are overbooked and, you know, also subject to all of the insurance billing, and our natural medicine healers, right? Mm-hmm. Our shaman and not just shaman within Indian country, but there's a lot of spiritual healers of a lot of different traditions. And what if we could get everybody on the same page with the person that wants to have the healing, right? And so with our kids, we started that. And how can we bring the sacred arts of storytelling, which is something that Indian country throughout is so well known for, and help that start this discussion? How can we lead by example what unity looks like? And so that's where we've been weaving kind of underground for the last 5 years. I mean, really, in different parts of this, but we do believe now that we're at a point that we can bring together these different groups, because, I mean, frankly, fam, I mean, if we're going to fix, you know, the American budget, right, we got to go at healthcare. Healthcare is a thing.
Well, so, it's funny you say that, Elizabeth, because that is literally before you and I met. It's Elizabeth and I have a parallel life. It's so strange, and we found this out. But we both started in 2019, as far as like really diving into our thought process on where is it that we fit in this new way of doing things. And the reason that I was brought into that was, again, my sister. So I knew at a young age that she was compromised in a way that once my parents were too elderly to be custodial, caretaker, advocate for her, who was left? Right. I was dealing with my own trauma of being a driver of the car, even though we were both young and there were a lot of things that factored into that. I still took that in and was just kind of and that's my own mental health story, pushed it to the side and just went on and on and on with my children, my husband, my career, my education, and didn't really pay attention to that emotional part of what I was doing it for in the first place. Was I was gaining all of this in a way to solve for her, one person, patient zero. And that's whenever whenever I personally realized in 2019 that there had to be an entity, there had to be a place, there had to be a community that was able to welcome someone like her, and I would eventually have to tell my story, right? And so that's whenever I really started digging into where can I most be useful, because we're all just a whole. We're all a whole. We're a part of a whole. Yep. And I can't be a good foot if I'm an eye, right? And I can't try to be an arm if I'm an ear. Yep. So I just really had to find my lane of where it was that I could be most useful. And, you know, it just aligned with healthcare and healing. And then as I started to do my own personal journey for my traditional side and my native heritage, which is nature, not nurture, then I found a lot more strength in my own story, learning my past, and just really honoring my own resilience instead of having a mindset to where you need to do more, Sarah. You're not doing enough, and that's just me putting those things in my own head, based on just being an overachiever. So so going back to 2021 when Elizabeth and I met, I don't think we knew that this was the path to be taken at that time, because we were both,
Right.
she was dead set on her supply chain. I was dead set on my workforce development part, because I, you know, I knew there had to be a workforce of people viable to take care of my sister. And so that was my goal. I was like, who's going to take care of my sister? Not going to be me. And so, but luckily I was able to come back to Oklahoma, because I had left Oklahoma for many years, and I came back at the end of 19, right before COVID hit, and we had to just dig in, as a family. I had to face all of those things that I hadn't been facing, for my own children, because they were able actually to see a side of me that they had never seen, right? Because whenever out of sight, out of mind, I was able to hide those pieces of myself, not just from my kids, but from myself, because it wasn't, you know, there were other things. There's always something else than your own well being. And so, universe, creator, God, whoever, whoever you want to give credit to, they stopped me dead in my tracks and said, okay, here you go, you got a bigger picture than just your sister. And that is where my eyes opened up to, oh my God, there's a whole world of people just like her. I'm just like her. And the fact that, you know, I need to be validated too. I need to be heard. And then that's when I found the people like Elizabeth, and well, they found me, and
We found each other.
we
It's just
found
meant
each
to be.
other. Then we found Les.
Yay! That-
And that's where we ended up coming here to be able to share this, this experience. We want everyone to be able to share in this, because it is resilience. I don't want to, it wasn't easy, and sometimes people will say, well, you know, look, Sarah, and the smile, or it is an everyday thing. I have to, it's every single day to make the right choice, to not let the bad thoughts take over, to get up and do the work. Like, it is work. I'm not going to say it's not. But in the end, is it worth it? Yeah. Is it gratifying? Yeah. Do I sleep well at night? Yeah. Is this smile authentic? Yeah. So I'm just really grateful to be able to help people the way that I've been trained and conditioned to give back to this project that we're really working on right now. So
I I love that, and I want to talk a little bit about that 2021 event, because the natural medicine supply chain that Sarah's talking about, and how we were coming at things differently. After I was a healthcare attorney, I was the CFO for a $500 million grocery and pharmacy chain during the last economic collapse. And so watching how dollars apply to healthcare was a big deal for me, because we had a self-insurance plan with 3,000 employees, and healthcare spikes was a big deal. And with a self-insurance plan, you can structure it so that you're encouraging people to get primary health, and you're encouraging people to get their to get into mental health, and to go see their doctor and get the preventative care and take the preventative prescriptions. And we were able to reverse, one year, it was I think 2007, we had a $13 million plan year, and putting in these implementation changes, we moved it to 8, and then the next year it went to 7 million, and the next million went to 6 million. And it was going down at the same time that, if you guys remember, PPACA, or the Obamacare, it was colloquially called, was happening. Because of that experience, I knew that we could, by working together and getting solutions for patients in rural communities, I knew we could address the dollar part of healthcare, right? And so after that company, I was trained as a impact fund manager by the Global Impact Investing Network out of London. And after that, helped a natural medicine company. It was a cannabis company because here in Oregon, I live in Oregon, cannabis went legal in 2015. And so joined forces and we went public on the Canadian Stock Exchange. So all of a sudden, the natural medicines as a alternative or a supplement to the pharmaceutical industry was something that was very much on my radar in 2021, just because, I mean, there's wonderful natural medicines everywhere, but the financing of the natural medicine supply chains and the financing of these coordinated, holistic healing communities is very complicated, right? When you are weaving it together within our current healthcare system, right? And you have all of these parties kind of at war with each other unnecessarily when we're all trying to do the same thing, which is bring great health. And Dr. Gabor Mate and a lot of other psychologists will say that, you know, trauma healing happens in safe environments. And when a flower is not blooming, you don't blame the flower, you fix the environment, right? These are a lot of quotes. And so when we got together, Sarah's like, we need workforce training. And absolutely, because anyone who's trying to get into a doctor or psychologist knows that, or running a hospital knows that, you know, providers are fleeing the system because it's so complicated. And all of my family members and friends that are doctors and psychologists don't want to spend half of their time billing. And so what if we could create an environment where everyone's coming together and coordinating that for the highest and best of the patient and for the highest and best of the person, and really simplifying how to heal, which is helping people stand up into their sovereignty, right? Standing up into your sovereignty and taking responsibility for your own healing, and then helping the healing of your own family and your own community on an individual level basis, right? And then on a family level basis, and then on a community basis, we can start to heal the rest of the world. And we can certainly heal what's happening with the healthcare financial situation. And we can heal a lot of other systems as well. And so one of the reasons I love Sarah so much is because, and I want you to tell everybody about, you know, the bird clan, but the way that you can just fly into, you know, different healthcare settings, you know, whether it's the VA, whether it's been in Indian Health Services, right, on reservation land in Arizona, whether it's in private insurance companies, home health, you've gotten, you know, a very bird's eye view, right, into where the opportunities are within the healthcare system for us to start to weave solutions. So before we get that, for people that don't know a lot about Native American, maybe talk a little bit about the clan system and then Cherokee and your mama and things like that.
Yeah. So, and it's funny that you say that with the bird's eye view, because it's a true thing that she's talking about is in our society, in ancient, you know, ancient, I say ancient, but traditional Cherokee societies, we are matriarchal. And in our current US society, it's based on a patriarchal format. So that in itself was something to get used to, that I always thought that I was bucking the system, but really the system wasn't built for me because we are matriarchal, right? And so through that, we also have clans. You're a part of a clan. And part of the reason that we did that is to eliminate any type of interbreeding among our tribe. And so you go on your mother's side on lineage because we believed that our womb is sacred, and so that is why we honor the mother as the surname, so to speak. And so in that you received your mother's clan. And so my clan is the Bird Clan of Cherokee Nation. You can look it up on our website if you would like. But so ultimately what we are responsible for is education and speaking truth and spreading the messages of truth among the different communities. And so we were so spread out that each community, a Bird Clan, would come and deliver the news. and or the message or the education, and they were trusted because that was their job and as that clan. So being from that I did in my career join in a lot of different categories of healthcare unintentionally. I did it because I always put my family first. And anytime I took a role, I would tell them, look, I have XYZ, like the kids kept growing along the way, but I would say, I have this many children. I'm a mother first. And so just so that you know, like this is a part of my life. So this will always, so my time, my energy, and it was always valued on, is the work that I'm doing good? Is it good enough to take me away from my kids and my family? Is the work that I'm doing something that I can put value in on this? So every time the roles that I took were related to vulnerable and people that are at risk, which often would be the elderly, the disadvantaged, the people that are in rural communities that have poor access to healthcare, or children, right? And so the roles that I did take early on were in home health. So I got my footing in healthcare as a nurse in home health. So I was going into people's homes from like 2003 all the way up until 19 when I left the field. But so in that setting, you guys, you have to be able to, so you're meeting people where they're at, which is a foundation of what we're talking about to do quality care. We had limited resources because Medicare, Medicaid always put home health on the back burner. So we got like tiny little budgets. And so we had to be conscientious of resources. And then quality, which that was just part of what I was bringing. And efficiency, because I'm trying to get that assessment done so I can get home, or because I have another assessment to do after that. So being able to bring quality, efficiency, and being conscientious of resources into that person's home where they're at, and then putting the ball into their court. So I found early on, if you tell someone what to do, you're not going to get the same response than if you tell them why they're doing it. And I learned that really quickly. And some people, and you have to understand how much they're willing to accept of responsibility and versus how much they're capable of accepting, right? Because sometimes people may be willing, but they're not really capable, or they may be capable and they're not so willing. Yeah. And so those kinds of things have to add up when you talk about empowering a person to take ownership of their own self. And so giving them a safe space, they're in home health, they were already safe because it was their home, right? So going into their safe space, knowing that, presenting the options, giving them and as part of nursing, informed consent was like second nature. So giving them the information that was relevant to their well-being, and then letting them decide what parts of these they're willing to take on. And then empowering them to do the best that they can for those, being a really great cheerleader and advocate, and making sure all the things are in place. So learning that really early on had put me on a stage to do that, and no matter what area of healthcare I went into, assess where the patient's at with their education, their willingness, and their abilities, and then create a plan around that. So individualizing and just listening to them. If you just listen to people, they will tell you it without a doubt every time. There's keywords you can pick up on, and you will learn what it is that really mean. They'll say it themselves, what it is that, empowers them. And then just peace, creating that peace is part of it. Elizabeth, am I rambling at this point?
I think you're doing great. I think that there's such a broad topic when we talk about how to heal healthcare. Yeah. But I want us to get back to storytelling and the kids, right?
Okay.
Because if you start at the most simple parts of trauma healing would be, how do you get a high enough perspective on your story? How do you get high enough that 40,000 foot view so that you can get to why? So that you realize that you're the superhero of your own story,
Right.
right? So that you have all the tools that you need to take radical responsibility for your own healing. And we're really working, and we've been working for years now to put together an environment of physicians, psychologists, shamans, spiritual communities, and sovereign territories to stand up in their sovereignty to help provide these healthcare districts, right? So that we can start to give people the opportunity to heal in settings that are like your home health, right? That has that environment that allows for your healing to occur. What I noticed in the natural medicine supply chain was that was the wild, wild west. Y'all might feel like that right now when you're trying to do some spiritual healing. You're like, should I go to this, energy healer, or should I go to this,
and what
should I try this?
energy do I even need healed? Like, how do people even know which direction to go in? Yeah.
And then how do the contraindications work? And, with the other medications, if I'm on regular pharmaceutical medications, do I dare go on a mushroom trip, right?
Yes.
And mushroom trips aren't even accepted throughout. I mean, I'm on the West Coast, so everything's
well,
wild
peyote
west out here.
It's kind of similar to mushrooms. Peyote is on the list, but not. I don't think psychedelic mushrooms are. A lot of the medicinal marijuanas still aren't on a lot of states in natural healing things. So yeah, you're right on top of it.
Exactly. And aside from all the regulatory, nightmare that is, am I violating something by taking this medicine, right? There's just the practical applications of, wouldn't it be cool if we had a way to know that these natural medicine supply chains were giving us medicine that we could count on? Wouldn't it be cool if, the real spiritual, I'm not saying real, but the people that have dedicated their lives to being medicine people. I've had the good fortune of being over 50 reservations now, and there are humans that do this. What if they were credentialing? What if they were able to say that this is this person has enough experience to be able to lead ceremony, and it's helpful for you to add that kind of network together so that we're all working together. What if the doctors and the psychologists and those credentialed shaman were able to utilize a natural medicine supply chain that we're all working together to bring? And so, and that fits perfectly within the workforce, because there's so many opportunities within medical and just white market medicine, right? In physician studies and psychological studies, for people to learn differently. And what if we helped provide that way for us to just now all come together to heal the things? And so I really wanted to say that I can't thank Sarah enough for all of her insights into the various different medical fields, because weaving a solution with all these different systems seems complicated, but it's really not. And so to go back to kind of our kickoff pilot summer program. Sorry, you guys. We're gonna get this together
you're
eventually.
doing great.
This
You're
is our
doing
first
great.
one.
To go back to that, so
our
let's
summer
just talk
program.
about what got us to that. Okay, so the reason it took us back to storytelling is because in all of these discussions, there have been a lot, I assure you. And Elizabeth and I continued to kind of peel back the layers. We started our conversations back last year in like July or August, about Red Road leading in being the foundation for this for these examples, right? And the unique position that I find myself in, that Elizabeth is also talking about, is being educated through the current Western medicine system as a registered nurse, and in different pieces of that arm, that system, and then coming back into my traditional roots. Storytelling is an art form.
Yes.
Nursing is an art form. And storytelling is held in our traditions as an honored art form. So and the fact that it brings healing back, that is where we're coming into this summer program of sovereign storytelling, united unity and peace. Okay, so with the kids, we have created this um, program where we believe that starting healing, trauma healing through children with the basics of storytelling from the traditional setting will be enough of an example for people to kind of get a better idea of this turn in healthcare and the way we see healthcare. Because really, healthcare wellness should be preventative always, right? Our system has turned into treat. You still have an ailment, treat it. There's no healing in the system.
Yeah.
And I know I'm kind of doing a little preachy thing here because I
Preach
get
it,
a little
preach it,
passionate.
Preach it.
Well, they don't. There's no way to heal at this point. People are
It's
doing
secure.
this.
It's
They
secure.
do. They do.
It's not
It's a
healthy, yeah.
security thing that they do. Well, you go see my specialist friend over here, and then they're going to refer you to their specialist friend over here. And then you're confused about which one has authority over what.
And how do you coordinate all that? And then there's the stress of dealing with the system, and all that in and of itself is stressful. Not to mention the financial stress.
Not to mention
Don't
the
get me
financial
started.
stress.
Yes.
So we're not trying to throw, I'm not trying to throw shade at the healthcare system as far as, oh my gosh, you're doing it so wrong, we could do it better.
I don't know that we need to throw any more shade at the healthcare system. I feel like it's got some shade.
They got plenty of shade, but I'm just saying that we have an alternative for people that are ready to see a different angle of wellness. And I don't really
storytelling,
know
and it's through storytelling.
And it's through storytelling.
And we have so many kids we want to not experiment on them, but they're volunteering for it. They're older, it's fine. But we've got friends in Hollywood. We have friends in Lakota region, in South Dakota, really throughout that have
Turtle
kids
Island.
that are ready to tell their stories.
Yeah.
That's why if you guys see all these kids that are music and they're dropping the beats. I'm not saying this right. I'm not cool as a mom. That cool.
I don't think that's appropriate for us to say dropping the beat.
Excuse me, ladies.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Wes, good for you to join us.
I'm here. I didn't want to say nothing because you guys were doing great, and I agree with about everything you guys are saying. And you really, you went into, you were organized on your thinking as far as healthcare, what needs to be done. You shared all these ideas, and and I'm behind you all the way. There's no question about it. There should be an integration of the traditional medical care treatment with holistic practice. I've always been, wanting that. But I think gradually, some doctors, that they believe in that too. So I think it's coming to that, but I don't know when. I just hope sooner the better, But I think that in this moment right now, when we're together, and we have the same thing on mind because of our experiences. And mine is more of a learning experience going through it, the system, and listening to psychiatrists, psychologists, and with trauma within my family still going on, and the people that I know that because I'm very aware that so many people have issues, and a lot of them cannot talk about. Like Elizabeth said, the system is complicated, and people that have serious issues, it's so personal. By far, there's so many of them probably would like to speak out, but they're afraid or whatever, or they just can't focus on it or whatever reason. But the fact I try to put it on a human basis that we're all alike in a lot of ways. I like to talk about the commonality of that we all have, rather than trying to put separate us because of our interests or our beliefs.
Right.
And I don't want to keep going on that, but I'm trying to sum up a little bit. how I came to where I'm at now and how I met you ladies. And it was all about perseverance of connecting with people that were doing good in the world. And also, I wanted to know if people could have discussions on mental health care system, what their thoughts were, if people were, it didn't work right, the system for them, or the ones that had to, the ones that didn't work out, they learn ways holistically how to recover and become stronger without meds. Some of them are on meds, have an integration of both, and they take care of themselves. It's a personal responsibility of taking care of yourself and learning what your needs are. And it goes back to the care. I think there's two big components that people that connect with people, like Sarah said, you have to reach them at their level, right? Wherever they're at, in their well-being or whatever, and you listen. And that's why I was practicing here on being a good listener, because I get really lazy. When I get started, I don't know when to quit. But anyway, I'm trying to come to these points. Believe me, with my ADHD and all my other issues, I am trying to get it together nowadays. But anyway, with the my focus was to connect with people, right? So I created a global mental health advocacy reform action, which is global. And that was to bring people together around the world to talk about the actions they were taking to improve the system, not just in our individual communities, but also to connect around the world to learn from each other what's working. And bring all people together of all physicians and all healers and talk about it. But I got to this point when I created Socrates Café. It intrigued me to go there, maybe with people that could connect with philosophy. And there's a lot of people that are interested in philosophy, can be the backbone of every field of science and everything, because philosophy, especially Socrates, since he's considered the father of critical thinking.
Correct.
And even for our own well-being and emotional well-being, you might say, when something negative hits us wrong and makes us feel bad, then we do some thinking before we react, right?
Right. And it's
So it's a pattern. We have to learn a new pattern. If we don't have that awareness, we have to have that self-awareness, and we have to be honest with ourselves. And all these, right. We have to be honest with ourselves. That's the first thing, of who we are, and we made mistakes, and if we can't be honest with ourselves, how are we going to be honest with anybody else? We can't expect anybody else to do anything better if we're not leading by example.
Well,
So that's what I'm trying to do.
Yes.
And yeah. So anyway, I wanted to tie this in with why am I having this with you ladies, this live conversation on Socrates. Well, I want to tie it into philosophy as I studied it out. This was based on the importance of storytelling, right? And my feeling, everybody has a story. And from Socrates, we started thinking about, and the people I met wanted to do podcasts. That'd be fun to do. So that would be a place that if we had guests, and we could have each person tell the story, what they want to tell about. And find with an open mind, we can learn something from everyone. So that's my thought. So
if we had these
still
kids
developing
that
that.
did the stories, would you publish them on Socrates? Like, when the kids can say, "Here's our stories," to inspire other people.
Oh, I want all people. It's philosophy. Any age can learn that. They teach that in higher education. They should teach, as far as college level, but I think they should teach her in the lower level too what philosophy is about. But anyway, I'll only tell you about the philosophy as far as storytelling. And AI taught me this, so I had this ready for you guys. Philosophy of storytelling highlights its indispensable role in shaping human understanding, identity, and social interaction. It underscores the interdependency of narrative and argument in philosophy, the therapeutic and resilience building power of stories in social work, the not cognitive, excuse me, and social skills fostered through storytelling and broad interdisciplinary interest in narrative theory. So that's in a nutshell what it is, but it does break down if you research it a little bit. Storytelling, the philosophy of it, it about well, philosophy. The storytelling is kind of is in the background of everything as far as communicating our message, basically, and it's healing and it's all that. So I think that since I think everything in life is each person can have their own philosophy. They don't have to call themselves philosophers, right? So anyway, if it wasn't for the first group I created, Global, and then the Socrates, how would I have met you ladies? You know?
It's all meant to be.
No, and
Yes.
then I've been kind of an annoying creature to connect with people that are like minds, and sometimes because everybody's busy doing,
I don't know if we lost him.
got priorities, but I'm not trying to be as annoying to bring people in on the groups, or because I put myself in their shoes. If I'm really busy, I can't talk, but I can at least be polite and tell them I can't. But yeah, I tell you what I see on social behavior, at least on social media, and it's just that if you post something, you're lucky to get a post. Only if you have followers or people, you might get a lot, depending on when they're on. So it's all relative on time and who's on, who's
Well,
doing it,
if I could,
and
yeah, wrap back that up, only because my phone's gonna die here pretty soon, guys.
Oh.
and mine is
Oh
too.
no!
I think
So I'm gonna be
we're
here all by myself. I'm just
well,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
well, I think it's full circle. I kind of believe that I think of our lives as like a dream catcher, and we're all on separate threads, but sometimes they weave together in the middle. And I'm really thankful that our threads have woven together in this way. I really want to invite everyone, if you're listening or you listen to this later on, and you want to be a part of the summer program. And you have, you want to help kids as, being like a camp counselor or an educator, or if you want to help by being a sponsor, the amount of kids that we can take on is directly related to your support. So I bonus mama probably over 100 kids, and there are kids all over the country that are in different satellites, where we can do this family systems healing and lead unity by example. But we very much believe that the healing of healthcare and the ability to help people individually heal will allow our nation to heal, and then our world to heal, so that we can end up with peace within, peace without. And so we're very much focusing on the what's up summer, the best summer ever, summer of 2024, is it's the we of family, the people, right? We are storytelling for sovereignty, for unity, and for peace. And we want to lead that by example. And so I really want to just thank Les again. Thanks, Sarah. I don't know, Sarah, if you have some last thoughts on that, but that's going to be like kind of everything we're talking about in the next few weeks, is Sarah and I just saying, come on, let's go. What's up, summer 2024? We lead with peace by family. And this is what family systems healing looks like.
Well,
I wanted to add one more thing. Oh, Sarah, go ahead. You go
I
ahead.
just wanted
Yes.
to say really quick, I did read in the comments, and I wanted to thank Tamara, because she did mention that it would be nice if, as a unit, we were able to take natural medicines and feel safe about it. that is part of the issue that we were really trying to address with this storytelling, is to kind of bring people like Les and others that aren't familiar with Indian country into understanding why it is safe and how you can find that safety in these spaces, because it's not just medicine as we think about pharmaceuticals. Our food, a lot of our food
Right.
is technically medicine,
It's
and people
sacred.
don't even realize these things, because it's a consumption, which is a totally different story, versus an education. And so why starting with the kids is really important, because educate, nothing against the older adults, but sometimes it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Not I I
Hey,
work with the elders.
hey,
The
now,
boomers,
I'm an old dog
the
now. Come
boomers
on.
grandparents are the hardest ones to deal with. I had to deal with World
It's
War
funny.
One generation as a young nurse. So I assure you, it's not it's not doable, but it's hard. So it's easier to teach the youngsters and mold them, and they're more resilient with that trauma, because the older we get, then it like sets in, right? And we're like the tin men, and we let those traumas set in all these joints, and then before you know it, we got this big old belly and a brain full of aneurysms. I don't know, I'm being very
Hey,
and
guys,
so
can you hear me? Hey, guys, can you guys
We can
still
hear you.
hear
yes,
me?
we can.
Okay, I wanted to add
Go
something real
ahead.
quick because I'm dying and my I can't even connect and see the videos with you guys because I'm probably fading out now. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you guys for joining. I'm glad to be part of the conversation. Thank Tamara. I've had many conversations about the same thing. Yeah, Tamara. Yay, Tamara. We
Yay
love
to
you.
Tamara.
And then then also in the members, I've talked to a few others. Sheila, I've talked to her in the past. Talked to a few others about the same thing. They know who they are. I can't mention them all, but now we have a platform. I want to with the podcast.
Yes.
With anybody that wants to do storytelling, please let us know, and we're going to try to make plans. So you could be on the podcast as a guest, and we can have conversations like this. So we can all learn from each other. So the
Yes.
more storytelling we do, I think the better. And I like where Sarah and Elizabeth are focused on the kids' story. Actually, the kids probably have newer ideas and are more fun to teach and be around than probably us old fogies, because like Sarah said, you can't teach a new old dog new tricks. And but I'm telling you, this dog here, you can teach me. Okay. I uh, I like to. I tell you, being around younger people makes me feel young. I feel the spirit and energy from you guys, and not only that, we have the same common interest to bring, to the world for improvement. Healthcare is so important for everybody. But anyway, if anybody wants to join our Facebook group, Socrates Cafe, or Global Mental Health Action Reform. Um, Please just send us a message. And if you want to talk to Miss Sarah or Elizabeth about any of the things we discussed, you can send them a message in a comment or send them direct. I'm sure they're going to answer. We just want to grow our platform and add people, to the, I guess you might call this movement. So I want to thank you, everybody here. Thank you, Sarah. Thank
We
you,
did
Elizabeth.
it.
I enjoyed I enjoyed listening. I hope to have many more of these conversations. So I'm gonna let you guys go because I'm dying here on my
All right.
phone,
Thank
and
you.
I'll get and we'll keep in touch. But thank you, and I'll let Miss Elizabeth
Nope.
and Sarah finish it
Thank you,
off.
honey.
Thank you, Les. Thank
Bye,
you,
love.
Les.
Bye.
Thank you, Socrates Cafe. Liz, love you, doll.
I love all of this. And if you guys
Yep.
want to help us with what's up, like just get a hold of us, right?
Yeah.
We're Elizabeth Bobeck and SJ Johnson online on Facebook. And yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from you and healing with you. And